Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we are flying the CubCrafters XCub, going from Skagway, Alaska, down to Juneau. Should be not an hour 10. It's looking like it's going to be between 45 and 50 minutes. We're going at 7,500 feet. We may lower that. Should be 70 miles en route. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Hey, I love planes and Shem. Welcome, both of you. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Klondike. That's like an old, I mean, it looks like an old steamboat or something like that, but I almost wonder if that's like a gold dredge or something. And one of the old ways that people got gold. Ah. Well, in typical flight sim style, there is snow on the ground, and it is 72 degrees outside. Fahrenheit. That's, 21, 22 Celsius, I think. Alright, we're loaded in. Let's go ahead and get set up here. So what we're gonna do... Battery master switch on first. Oh, I've been on some type of those boats. Oh, that's awesome. So, I wasn't sure if I was going to stream tonight. It was kind of a spontaneous decision because I just got back home. But I figured, you know, it would be a good opportunity to... Let's get the weather. Just check everything first. Skagway. Alright. 15 to 22 knots. So it's a bit breezy, so that means we're going to have to take off from the... or headed south. Which is actually good because that's the direction we're flying. But hopefully we don't have strong headwinds. Okay, so it's 21 Celsius. That's 70 Fahrenheit. 30.09. Hey, Maria. Snow, get off the ground now. When it's... I don't understand. It's 21 Celsius and the ground is absolutely covered. It's not even dusted, it's covered in snow. Let me jump out of the cockpit real quick. I just want to make sure... Oh yeah, we're good. Okay. Because I didn't connect my flight stick until I was already loaded in. Alright. Gonna cheat set the altimeter. Just with a shortcut key. Puts it right where we need to be. The next thing we need to do, fuel pump. Mixture goes full forward until it peaks. That's good. We can go ahead and shut it off. Next thing we'll do is the alternator field comes on. Both magneto switches come on. Clear left. Clear right. Clear... Yeah, it's clear ahead. That looks good. I think we're good there. Let's go ahead and get the autopilot set up before we engage. So we're gonna do... We'll set it to 7,500 feet for now. We might actually just cruise at 5,500, depending on conditions. This turns slow compared to the one in the Cirrus SR-22. Old man Skagway, that old man Skagway, he just keeps rolling on the Alaska paddle steamboat. Oh. So, fun fact, Skagway was one of the base towns where prospectors would come up to Alaska for the Klondike Gold Rush up in Dawson. I'll pull it up on the map once we get going, but everything here looks good. Strobe light on, nav lights on, these can stay off for now. And we'll wait to set the heading and everything. I suppose we can turn the FLC on 70 knots. Alright, we are good. One last check. Clear left, clear right, clear ahead. Whoops. Alright, there we go. Clear! Oh, come on. Are we flying to the gold mines? No. That'd be such a long flight. Even in the SR-22 in this plane, it would probably take well over 2.5 hours. Let's try it again. Clear! Alright, now we're up and running. We want to idle this at about 1,000 RPM. And we gotta pull back on that a little bit. Oh, the prop isn't forward. I forgot that. I don't have a control for this on my flight stick, so I have the throttle and mixture. But if any plane that I fly that has a variable pitch prop, I have to do that manually. Like a drag. Oil pressure's in the yellow, so we need to increase the RPMs a little bit. Oh, that should be good there. Alright. Let me grab a quick view outside. So it looks like we're gonna pull forward, go up there, and 2-0's right up there. So we could actually make the turn right here. So back into the cockpit, nice and easy. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. I think I just hit the wrong button, sorry. Alright, there we go, parking brake is off. That's a nice, gentle taxi forward. And we'll actually turn this way. What I'm gonna do is get a little bit of a better view up here, so we can just see our surroundings a bit better. Not too much power, it's a little high to get rolling. Ha! Maria just packed the shovels. Never mind, my laptop explodes when I try to do anything on it. That sucks. Alright, nice and easy on the brakes. And we'll turn forward just a little bit. This is where we're going to get out to the runway. Alright, set there. Let's go ahead and reset the parking brake, do a quick run-up. Landing light, pulse. We actually don't even need the pulse on right now. Turn that back off, we'll leave that on. Avionics master on. Explosives are not allowed on the plane. In Alaska, sometimes they have to carry hazardous materials to villages that need them, because they may be off the road network or something like that. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's a little tricky here with this plane just because the view is different in the tail wheel. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is out of the plane, check the... Let's reset the view. Alright. Flight controls, so the rudder's good. Elevator's good. Ailerons are good. Let's set the flaps down to 10. Or 1. It's 10 in the Cessna, where you have more than just up half full. I throw my laptop out the window, don't do that. I want to get that fixed. Alright. Power up to 2,000 RPM. Oh, that's a little high. Let's back off a little bit. Let that drop. Touch more down. That's good right there. It's close enough. Alright, first thing we'll do is a mag check, so we're going to turn the left magneto off. And that's a drop of about 40. That's good. Back on. Good. Back on. The next thing we're going to do is cycle the prop. I'm going to grab it, slide it back. We should have a drop of about 100. Good. Back forward. That's good. And we'll pull back one more time. Good. Back forward. And we're good. Not only does that let us check the function of the variable pitch or constant speed prop, but it also helps kind of cycle oil through that, changes those blade angles, and just gets it ready for when we need. For takeoff, it needs to be full forward. Power back down to idle. Should drop down to about 600. And the oil pressure will probably drop into the yellow. In some planes, would that shut the engine off when you pull the prop back? It should not. And it's idle and our oil pressure's in the yellow, so let's bump it back up. Not that high. Come back down. It's about where we want it. Mixture will cut the engine, but going full back on the prop controls should not. What it would do is just slow it down because the propeller is taking a much bigger bite of the air. But we're good to go. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake, taxi out onto the runway. Grab a little bit of a better view here. 20 is the runway for takeoff. Bump forward just a little. Just taxi out and line up on the runway. Beautiful view of the scenery other than the fact that it's 21 degrees and covered in snow. Which is not realistic, but a bunch of airports up here actually have that. Probably because the satellite imagery that they used had snow on the ground. That is my guess as to why that happens. Alright, now we can pull the view back down. And let's make sure everything is configured. Our altitude is set. FLC is set. Flaps. Let me make sure those are right. Okay, they are there. Heading. We're going to take off runway heading. So we'll set that. Everything looks good. Full power. Nice and easy. And airspeed is already alive. It's pretty gusty. Engine instruments look good. There's the RPMs, you don't want them to go above 2,700 for an extended period of time. We let our speed go up before we lift off just because of the wind. Looks like we're pretty good here. We'll hit the brakes just to stop the wheels from spinning once we get airborne. And climb out. And you know what we can actually do? We're not turning, so we're just going to go ahead and set the autopilot on. No, it didn't want to turn on. There we go. Alright. Flaps up. That'll help us pitch up a bit. And we're actually going to pull the prop back down to about 2,600. This is much more sensitive at higher speeds. At higher, like engine power speeds, not airspeed per se. Alright, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and set a course straight down this, this is the Lynn Canal, so we're gonna turn heading select on. We got a little bit of time to climb. And let's just grab a really nice, pretty view of Skagway. So we'll come out of the cockpit, turn back. This is the town. If you were to go up that way, that's the White Pass Trail. That would ultimately take you up toward Bennett Lake, which would eventually lead you over toward Tagish Lake and the Yukon River up to Whitehorse and ultimately Dawson. That's how the stampeders of the prospectors went when they came up here for the gold rush. Over here, the town no longer exists, but this is Daia, or Dai. I think it was pronounced Dai. I always just say Daia out of habit. That was the second town that prospectors could go to, and up that way was the Chilkoot Trail. Just a little bit of a different route, but that would ultimately also take you up to Bennett Lake. That's where everybody would get and stay for the winter until the ice melted to where people would sail up the Yukon River to Whitehorse and Carmacks and eventually Dawson where they would gold mine. Got the smiling plane, and I think we're good to go back into the cockpit here. Didn't think this plane would have autopilot. Yeah, believe it or not, it does. It actually has pretty good avionics. Now, the XCub, to my knowledge, is based on the original Piper J3 Cub, or maybe the Super Cub. But because it's a much more modern plane, they fit it with modern avionics and electrical systems and everything like that. I believe the XCub is actually FAA certified. Some of the other CubCrafters types are experimental. This terrain is still higher than us here, and the game's stuttering again. It seems to be happening kind of frequently with this aircraft. I'm not sure why. We can zoom out on the map a little bit. We'll eventually be high enough to go up over this. If not, we're only a few miles offset from our course, and we'll just fly right over the water. Zoom back in just a little bit. Yeah, that's good there. Once we level off, we'll gain a lot of speed. So I think 7,500 is the way to go. Beautiful view of the mountains up here, and it is an absolutely gorgeous day. All the way from up here, down the southeast part of the state, all the way down to Ketchikan, which is just above the border with Canada, and the Pacific Northwest, so like Washington, Oregon, are having warmer than average weather, beautiful sunny weather, and that extends all the way up to here. Most of the rest of the state is actually pretty crummy weather, so I decided to do a short flight up through here. I had originally thought of doing maybe Ketchikan to Juneau in the SR-22, but I decided I would do something a little bit shorter. I was still looking like an hour and 5 to an hour and 10 minutes, and this is going to be 45 to 50, so not a huge difference, but definitely a bit shorter. Oh, come on. I don't know why, but this is kind of stuttering a bit. And then it just freezes for 5 to 10 seconds. It doesn't seem to do that in the SR-22. I mean, I do get a little bit of stuttering, but it's not like this. I need to look into see what's going on with that. Certainly a beautiful day to fly over here, though. Once we level off, get turned on course, we'll take a look at some stuff here. We're only getting 71% power in the climb, so we're actually climbing a little less than 1,000 feet per minute. I think part of that might be because of the prop. I'm just going to experiment real quick, and I'm going to push this full forward. And now the engine power is... I don't know. Let's pull that back down to 2,600. I guess you could go 2,650. Set it to 2,650.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Maybe we need to lean the mixture a bit. Well, yeah, here we are at a cruise altitude. So we'll gain some speed. So what are my thoughts about joining VATSIM? I really haven't thought about it, because I was out of town, haven't been doing any flights or anything like that. I'm still considering it, but I'm gonna have to look into joining and getting the sim set up, and I'm also, now that I'm back, I'm probably gonna set up a trial for Game Pass to try out Flight Sim 24, and I need to evaluate how 24 runs on my computer before I decide if I want to make the switch or stick with this, or on the off chance that I would do a bit of both, but that doesn't really seem to make much sense to me. And then from there I want to get everything in the sim configured how I want, including add-ons like the VATSIM, any connectivity that I need for that, etc. Now that we're out over the water, I'm going to go ahead and turn. We're actually above terrain. And this time... Oh yeah, we're plenty above everything. So let's just go ahead and turn. Maybe we'll pick up the nav course here in a bit. Alright. Let's go in here. Let me go to the engine panel. And we're going to do the lean assist, just to see where our best power is. So we're very slowly leaning the mixture here. These should start getting higher as we lean the mixture. So what I'm doing, you can't see it, I'll move it so you can. What we're doing is pulling this back a little bit, and I'll explain how that works in a moment, because it's something I talk about a lot, but I haven't really explained how it works. And we'll just set it there for a moment. Less fuel flow, but less power. Not necessarily. That is not 100% correct. It isn't wrong, per se, but it's not quite correct. We gotta come back maybe a little further. Oh, look at that. Lean, peak EGT. So we're at -5, so what we're gonna do is bump it forward, and it should go back up. It is actually not. Nope, there it goes. Come back up to 0. That is perfect. So we're going to leave the mixture right there. You can turn that off. And back. And we'll bring the map back up. So what happens with the mixture is that determines the fuel to air ratio that goes into the engine for combustion to make it run. If you have too much fuel, which is called rich, then you're burning excess fuel, which you don't want to do because it's less efficient, and it's not getting hot enough for the maximum power. If it's too lean, there's not enough fuel going in, so you have a reduction of power. There's too much air. So you generally want a sweet spot. It's not usually right at peak EGT, which is your exhaust gas temperatures, which is what you generally use to monitor the fuel flow and whether your mixture is leaned properly or too much or not enough. In most planes, and it varies based on the plane, the engine, etc., but in most planes, your max power is just a tiny bit rich, which means a tiny bit more fuel than what you would have it set to for those peak temperatures. Best economy is usually a little bit more lean than that. Alright, so we've got that set up. Absolutely beautiful views. Let's go outside and take a look here. Skagway is, you can't really see it, but it's tucked back here. This is where Dai would be. This right here is Haines. There's some gold mining up this way. I don't think there's a whole lot, but there is some. Also covered in snow. This is the Lynn Canal, which runs between Skagway and Haines and Juneau. And absolutely beautiful view out here. Not far that way is Canada. Blue, what's going on, man? Downloading DCS. Oh, wow. I've actually spent a little bit of time in DCS. Super fun. It has a very, very steep learning curve. Because it is so realistic, you have to do everything basically from scratch. Whereas this is a little bit easier to get it, like, more or less plug and play. I mean, you can spend time configuring it, you can do your startups in realism, but not in DCS. I mean, it is, you gotta go step by step through everything. I remember when I tried DCS, it took me sometimes over a half hour to get everything set up before I'd be able to get the plane off the ground. But it is a lot of fun. Great views. Living it, loving and living. You got the stuff on a flight stick and everything. Yeah, that'll help you. But you'll still have to go through all of the steps. In the future, I'm genuinely considering, obviously when you make money, buying a full 737 cockpit. Like, it's gonna be hella expensive, but you only live once. So that's a really cool idea. It is extremely expensive, but if that's something that you're gonna fly regularly and get your money's worth out of, then it's cool. The thing about that is if you do decide to go with, you know, use another plane, the stuff may not carry over entirely correctly, so it may require some changes in configuration, stuff like that. It can be a bit tricky, but it would be a pretty cool investment. Like, I would love to do like a small GA setup. I've thought of doing one for the Cirrus, but it would be a few $1,000s if I went that route. So I'm holding off anything like that. Just going simple, and I get versatility with what I have too. I could do the XCub, the Cirrus, I could do the Vision Jet if I want to, when I get the new sim. Or the Longitude, or the Diamond, all those other planes and stuff like that. Hey, we're getting a little bit of bumps. Alright, we are going to... Here's the heading bug. We're going to turn, and then we're going to intercept the nav course. Alright, while we turn here, I'm going to pull up the map and let the sim stutter again. True, but honestly, I looked it up. It's like 66,000 euros, which is... It is less than a house, but that is... Well, I mean, you could probably buy 2 cars for that amount of money. Tiny bit bumpy here. Let me see if this works this time. There we go. And the nav route's not showing up. Whatever. Our route today. So this is Skagway, where we started. You know what? I looked out that way. That is not where Daya is. Daya is up here. Maybe in my midlife crisis, which is decades away. So what we did, we flew down here and then followed this channel of water, and now we're turning back onto course. I don't know why that isn't showing up on here right now, but we're basically going to be flying over this, and Juneau sits right down here, so what we'll probably end up doing is setting a course to come out here and over here, or if the weather's bad, we'll have to go over this way. Pretty straightforward flight. Canada is just out over this way, but this is all the interior, or not the interior, but this is all just further in southeast Alaska. This is Gustavus Airport. Not very familiar with it. Up here past Haines and Skagway ends up being Canada. So, for reference, what I was talking about earlier, the White Pass Trail comes up here, the Chilkoot Trail comes up through here. Eventually they merge and you get to Bennett Lake, which I believe is here. And then eventually... Or no, actually, let me think. They may come up this way. This may be Bennett Lake. I think this is the bigger one. Tagish Lake is here, and then you follow the Yukon River all the way up to here, and that's Whitehorse. We've been in and out of Whitehorse a couple times too. Several times. And you'd eventually sail up the Yukon up to Dawson. Going down this way, come back toward the coast. Yakutat sits up here, and that's really the cutoff between southeast and south central Alaska. You go out this way, eventually you're going to run into Cordova, Valdez, and then Anchorage. You come down this way. This is Juneau, that's where we're heading. Gustavus. Sitka has a really pretty approach. Petersburg, Wrangell, Ketchikan down here, and then Alaska ends like right down here, I believe. This is all British Columbia of Canada. And a little further down, you'd be at Victoria, Vancouver, and then Seattle is right down here. So that kind of gives you relative to southeast Alaska where we're flying. But this is a pretty short, straightforward flight. There's also a quarter-life crisis, but we won't think about that. Been there, done that, man. Oh, that was Maria that sent that. I just read it as part of I Love Planes. Airtime, yes. It is getting a bit bumpy. It's not bad. This is definitely some light turbulence. It's not bad by any means. But if you take a look over this way, this is where the view is getting really pretty. We'll zoom in a little bit here. You won't be able to see, I don't think, maybe the outermost end to where it actually meets the ocean. Could be, but I'm not really sure. Love the thermals. Would you all be interested if I do, like, glider flights? I've actually done a few. They are fun, but you kind of fly around more or less aimlessly, unless you're trying to do a cross-country in a glider, which you have to have almost perfect weather conditions for, and they're extremely tricky. Want to do a glider in real life? I have done it. Very well worth it. I don't have a glider rating, but I've flown them twice, and I had a blast both times. It is surely something I would recommend. Also, the skills that you learn from flying gliders are invaluable to flying airplanes with engines. Particularly if your engine goes out. They fly so much different. Not far off a midlife crisis personally. P.S. Love the view. Oh, this is one of the most spectacular views that you'll find. The problem is the weather up here is not often very nice, but lately, the last few days, it has been, so what a perfect opportunity. Gotta find one around. It teaches you the trade-off, like descent and speed. Well, all aircraft with engines have what is called your best glide speed, to the case where your engine is shut off or fails, or even idle. Your best glide speed gets you the furthest amount of distance per altitude that you're descending. And that's also true of regular gliders as well, like purpose-built gliders. So your maximum distance would be achieved by going at that speed. Too fast, you're pointed down too much to gain airspeed, and you lose your best distance. If you're too slow, you're generating just enough lift to keep the plane from stalling, but you have a descent rate. That's why in airplanes, when you're doing slow flight, it actually requires more power to go at a slower speed. You think it would be counterintuitive, But when you're pitched up, you have a high angle of attack, which is how the airflow is hitting your wings to generate lift. It requires more speed, or more power, to maintain that slower speed, and level flight without having that descent. I feel like it would be fun to do. It's an absolute blast. It teaches you a lot. I would tell everybody who flies to absolutely, even if you don't go get a rating, that's fine. Certainly take a couple flights in a glider to understand, because those skills become invaluable to you as a single-engine aircraft pilot. In slow flight, I feel like I can feel the controls lose effectiveness since of the low airflow. Absolutely, that happens. In most planes, so I'll put it this way. Whoa. This is an okay example. It's really hard to see. Well, you can see it a little bit better from up top. Do you see how the wing is a little bit more flat close to the fuselage, and then it's tapered off a little bit toward the wingtips, and it has kind of a little bit of a steeper angle? That is exactly why you have that effect. The airflow is disrupted over the wings, closer to the wingtips, so your ailerons get a little bit less airflow over them, so they lose some of their effect. But the airflow is less disrupted closer to the center, so you're still generating the lift that you need to stay airborne, but because it's disrupted more toward the wingtips, there's less going over the ailerons, so it requires greater input on your ailerons to get the effect that you want, compared to going at cruise or full power, high speed, something like that. So that's why that happens. Go back into the cockpit here. 30 miles to Juneau. Let me pull the map up, because we're going to have to start navigating a little bit. So we're more than halfway. Skagway's up here. Juneau's down here, so we're just over halfway. So I'm thinking what we might actually do is come down. Well, I tell you what, the first thing we should do is get the weather at Juneau so we can see what the wind is doing. While we're at it, let's go ahead and switch the fuel selector. Now it's getting a little bumpy. There's some pretty solid light turbulence there. If it gets more moderate, we may have to back off on the speed. Yep, okay. Let's get the weather. Alright. 240 at 9. Ugh. Alright. Juneau has a long runway, but I really don't want to land this plane with a tailwind. 240 at 9, 10 miles visibility, few clouds at 7,000, so good. Look at that, it's reporting. This is one of the few airports that I've seen that actually does this. It's reporting clouds at 30,000 feet. Most medium to large airports only report up to 25,000. 23, so it's 73 Fahrenheit on the ground at Juneau. .13 on the altimeter. We'll go ahead and set that. I'll have to close that, and alright. So we're going to change our approach here. 3, 0, 1, 3. Enter. And it's starting to get a little more bumpy here. You also want really slow, really shallow turns during slow flight. Yes. You do, because if you turn too steeply, one wing can stall, you can enter a spin, or you can actually roll the plane. Which is kind of what happens in a spin anyway, but you can roll without actually spinning the plane. and that can be hazardous for obvious reasons. Alright. This isn't IFR certified, so we're not going to be able to set up any approaches. So we're going to have to get creative here. I'm going to pull Sky Vector up. We're going to take a look at a couple things here. Let me get a view outside here before I switch windows. Alright. So what we're gonna need to do is probably fly over this way and come out and up this way. So we're almost flying toward the city, but not quite. We're just gonna go pretty much on course to the airport, and then we're gonna turn out, fly over the water, give us a little bit of time to set up, and we'll come in. The thing that we have to be careful of is altitude. So I think our best bet would actually be to come down to 1,000 directly over the airport. In fact, so that's the airfield, so we'll be coming in this way. So we know we'll exit somewhere over here to get parked. This is actually the water for seaplanes to arrive at the airport. That's unusual. Kenai also has this. I can't think of any other airports that do. But Kenai and Juneau both have water strips for seaplanes to land on that are actually controlled by the tower. So what we'll do, I think, is we're going to descend, come over the airport at 1,000, and we'll turn into the base leg, start descending, and then line up on final approach. We'll have to get slowed down. Let me see if we can get any airport information. PAGYN is the identifier. Alright, let's see here. Now, in the real world, if we're talking to ATC, they would tell us how to descend and how to set up to arrive at the airport. Since we're not flying with ATC, what I'm looking for is the pattern altitude. Okay, 26 is a left pattern, so that's we would fly over the airport. Okay, here we go right here. Traffic pattern altitude. This is what this means. 1,500 above the ground for large turbine aircraft, which we are not. 1,000 for fixed wing aircraft. That's what we are, so yeah, 1,000 is exactly the way to do that. So back to the map. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fly directly over the airport, over the water, and set up a regular traffic pattern. Let's go back into the sim. Juneau is a single runway. Thought it would be more. No, because you are pretty restricted by terrain. But I could understand why you would think that. Juneau's the third busiest airport in the state, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But I know Juneau's the third largest city in the state, and also the capital. So there's a lot going on. What does this say? 16 miles away. We're going at 114 over the ground. So I think what we can do is go ahead and start a descent. So what we're going to do is turn the FLC, well, it's already off because we're at cruise. We're going to turn VNAV on. Come on. We're going to turn the altitude down to 1,000, but we're going to have to be really careful since we're going above mountains. We'll have to make sure our descent rate provides us enough clearance above the terrain. So with that set to 1,000, what we'll do is set vertical speed, and we're going to just do a nice, easy, like a 700 foot per minute descent. Pull back on the power down to... That just froze again. Go back to there. Monitor our temps. Pull the carb heat down when we get a little lower. We'll leave that for now. And we'll just kind of enrich in the mixture as needed. But I think this is actually pretty good. Actually, you can see the airport from here, I believe. If we zoom all the way in. Yep. So yeah, that's it right there. Hey, look! There's no snow on this side, but there's snow on the Juneau side. It's so weird how it just transitions like that from covered in snow to proper, like, summer forests or whatever. I do plan on doing some Planet Coaster after this. I might take a short break, and then we'll pick up, do some Planet Coaster, probably fairly late, but I don't know. Just kind of see how I'm feeling. Those of you that are into Planet Coaster, what park would you like me to work on? I can do the Mythology Park or the Tropical one. I think I have some plans coming up in the next couple days for something totally new. But I'm not even going to open a poll, just let me know. And if nobody has input on it, then I'll choose something when I decide to boot up. 10 miles away. I think we do need to actually put a little bit more into the descent here. So we're going to turn the vertical speed down to about 1,000 per minute, so we're going to back off on the power even more. We're going to pull the RPMs back. About 2,400. Quick view outside, maybe. Coming up on the terrain, we got plenty of clearance, and what I'm going to do is zoom in here. If you take a look here, anything in yellow is less than 1,000 feet above us, so we'll have to be careful. Anything in red is above, or no, actually less than 100 feet below us, or above us. So you certainly, anything that shows up in red will have to maneuver around. Anything in yellow we'll have to evaluate by looking outside. Nice view. Yeah, Shem, it's beautiful up here. On my Duolingo grind. Alright. What language you doing? I think my stream is delayed. It could be, yeah, there's often a 20 to 30 second delay. Sometimes it can be a little more. I always tell people, if you think there's a really significant delay, make sure that you are set up to live, like it didn't get paused at any time or anything like that. Because I've actually done that when watching other people's streams. Sometimes it pauses and there's a delay. German, nice. Oh, your audio keeps cutting out. It could be buffering if you have a slow connection. But this is pretty. We actually get a little bit of a view of the city. This isn't the main population center, I think more of that is actually further down this way. But you're back, it's fine now. Okay, good. Deleted Duolingo after a 365-day streak. Man, I had a coworker. He was up into the thousands. Like, I want to say somewhere around 13 or 1400 days. It was really impressive. Never felt so free again. And yeah, all of this terrain we've had at least 1,000 feet clearance, directly above, which is good. The rule, this is actually a regulation that you're supposed to follow. If you are flying over unpopulated terrain, or very sparsely populated, you should be 500 feet above the terrain. If you're flying over a densely populated area, and the way that you would look at that, come up on this map here. I'll pull it up real quick. Sky Vector. You see these yellow areas? These are more densely populated areas. You are expected to remain 1,000 feet above those. There are circumstances where that isn't the case. Obviously, if you're flying on takeoff or approach into an airport or from there, you might have to pass lower above those kinds of areas. The other thing you can do is get a waiver from the FAA, and if it's for a specific purpose, they could give you an exception to it. They might set conditions that you would have to follow otherwise, but generally speaking, that is what you're supposed to do. Let's turn this back off, back into the air. And here we are, 1,300 feet, so we're coming up, so just grab a quick look down there. So there's actually a lot of houses, a pretty decent amount of population over here. But the main part of the city is further over this way. I think up there. Absolutely beautiful coming through here, though. Absolutely gorgeous. Alright, here we are, we're leveling off pretty much right over the airport, so our descent profile was pretty good. This is the runway that we're landing on. We'll be coming in this direction here. And look, no snow! I don't get it. Is this a golf course? It looks like a golf course, actually. Interesting. So we're slowed down to about 90 knots with this power. Let's do some final items. We're going to go full rich on the mixture. Full forward on the prop. And we'll pull it back just a little bit to stay below 2,700. Gotta love MSFS logic. Absolutely. Alright. We're going to disengage the autopilot, fly by hand. So we're going to turn. I don't know why it kept dinging. We flew into the summer zone. Yes. Tad bit high. Let's come back on the power a little bit. And let's go flaps 1. We're slow enough we can put the first level of flaps. There we go. We'll right abeam the runway, so we'll actually start coming down. We're flying a little bit wide of a pattern, but that's okay. It looks like we're flying into the terrain, but we're not. We're going to make a turn here. 800 feet. And we're good to go ahead and get ready to turn base. Let me make sure this is trimmed. Let's turn. Plenty good over here. Don't worry about that terrain. This is normal. I think downtown is pretty much right ahead of us right now. Add a little power because we're going slow for only flaps 1. I want to make sure I don't lose the airport, though. So we're going to raise the wing. Yeah, we definitely did fly that a little bit wide, but we're okay. Still at 700 feet. Now let's come off the power now that we're over the water. Flaps 2. Carb heat's going to come on. Final check. Mixture's full rich. Prop will go full forward now. Landing lights are on. We're good. Terrain, pull up. No! Alright, Alright, let's turn final. We might overshoot just a little bit. We don't want to turn too steep. Add some power. That's a little slow. Oh yeah, we blew right through final. We've got time to correct, so that's okay. And Maria, we're flying back into the winter zone. I can't get over this. Let's be careful on our airspeed. We don't want to overspeed flaps. Alright, here we are. Full flaps. Oh, wrong button. Ah. Alright. And flaps are full. Now we're getting lined up on the runway. A nice gradual approach. We could actually get a little slower. But we're trimmed out really nicely for the speed. I don't see the Wait. I don't really see the VASI lights. They should be there. Interesting. Something's off with that. Is that a pulsating VASI? This airport doesn't usually have that. Yep. Alright. That's exactly what it is. What in the world? Alright. Easy back. Cut the power. Touchdown nice and gently. We bounced a little bit, but we are good. Absolutely beautiful. We'll hit the brakes. Oh, easy. Ball back stick. Alright. And we can turn here. We'll bring the flaps up. And let's get our view for taxi. This is how my whole summer felt. Aww. Yeah, we made it. That was actually not a bad landing. It could have been a little bit better, and I'll explain that in a moment. Let's come back on the throttle a little bit. So we get a little bit of a lengthy taxi. So we're going to be pointed down right this way. Decent landing. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't perfect by any means. Let's go out the cockpit and just take a look here. So the problem with the landing that I did, you see it bounced just a little bit. Now, I don't know whether I touched down a little bit fast or if I actually hit the tail wheel first. I'd have to go back, look at a replay. Come on, move. Come on. Give it just a little bit more power here. And we only burned 12% of our fuel on that flight. There's a vehicle, stopped for the planes like you should be. There's the terminal. These are the hangars that we're going to. So we'll take the next turn in. We could have taken the one back there, but I think we're going to park like right over here. Oh, there's actually room for some smaller aircraft parking. A little further up. See, we're weaving a little bit. You have to be gentle on turns on a tail wheel. Easy. Easy. Oh, no, perfect. This is where the small planes park. Like, right up here. That's the passenger terminal right there. And we're going to grab ourselves a nice parking spot right up here. I'm going to go around this vehicle. Can tail wheels tip over if you brake too hard? Yes, and I've done it. So I'm trying really carefully to avoid doing that on here. For example, you see how that kind of tips forward just a little bit? We weren't going fast. So you don't really risk it there, but if you hit the brakes too abruptly and you have a good amount of speed, the momentum carries it forward and you basically smack the prop into the ground. That would trigger a collision, so your flight would end, and it's embarrassing. And it would mess up the prop in the engine and upset a lot of people. Needless to say. Alright, so we are parked. Let's get this thing shut down. Prop full forward, mixtures full forward. Landing light off, we'll leave those on. We can turn the avionics off. Now the alternator can come off. Very slowly, we're going to do an idle cutoff on the mixture here. Engine is stopped. All of that's good. Now we'll turn the magnetos off. Don't have to do anything with the key. That's just a start. And last but not least, cut the battery master. And that's our flight, 44 minutes, so we actually did slightly better on time than I had expected. I'd estimated 45 to 50. I think we got a little bit of help with the ground speed up at altitude, so that worked out really well. Out the cockpit, get a beautiful view. The duality of Microsoft Flight Simulator, folks, especially up here in Alaska. There is snow on the ground, but you look over that way, beautiful summer forest. I don't understand it. Despite it being 23 on the ground here, unless the weather's updated. It has not. Either way, it wouldn't change more than 1 or 2 degrees, probably. Nice flight, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, this was a beautiful one. Nice and easy, pretty relaxing. Little fun coming in. Now, the interesting thing about this airport, and I'm going to pull this up on SkyVector real quick. Let's come back to it. Let's pull this back up. So for runway 8, it's a VASI. For this, it's a PAPY with 4 lights. It should not have had that pulsating VASI, and I think that's why I was confused and flying lower than I should have. Pulsating VASIs are really cool. They're not common. So I don't know why it was there. It's incorrect in the sim. But I'll go over pulsating VASIs in another time, maybe at an airport that we fly that has one and is supposed to have one. I'll actually talk about it. But let me go back into the sim here, get this flight ended. Absolutely beautiful here. That's global warming for you. Well, I mean, it's warm, but it seems like Microsoft Flight Simulator is trying to have an alternate. Global cooling. The ground is covered in snow 12 months out of the year, regardless of what the reported temperatures are. But it is absolutely beautiful. This is... I think Ketchikan's a little bit prettier, but all of these airports in the southeast are just gorgeous. So, that's going to do it for me, folks. Stay tuned. We'll do Planet Coaster in a little while, I think. If by chance I'm not feeling up to it, we'll pick up with that tomorrow evening. But as of right now, I am planning to do a Planet Coaster stream. So give me a little bit, we'll get back on. Thanks so much for flying with me. Welcome to Juneau, Alaska, where the snow is on the ground and the snow is not over there. Alright, as always, folks, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.